Finding one knife that can do everything we need it to do is impossible. That's why most of us carry multiple knives every day. We'll carry a fixed blade in a folder, or a folder in a multi-tool, or a multi-tool in a utility knife. We want to be prepared for any situation and scenario we come across. Well, finding the perfect all-around EDC light is equally impossible. Some lights have a lot of lumens, some lights have good runtime, some lights have a lot of modes and features. Well, today on the Unprofessional Dad's EDC, we're going to check out the Loop Gear SK05 Pro. It's a light that I've heard a lot of hype about. I've heard good things and I've heard some bad. It carries a lot of lumens, has good runtime, and it definitely has a lot of modes and features. We're going to examine the light and see if it is the perfect all-around EDC light. And we're going to see, is it worth the money and is it better than other options that we have available to us? We're going to ask those questions and more on the Unprofessional Dad's EDC. Let's check it out. Alright guys, so I've been excited about this review as far as the flashlight goes, more than any that I've had so far. And you know, that's saying something because I've been really eager to do the Arc Pros and the Warrior Ultras and stuff like that. But this is a light that I have seen several times on Amazon. I've talked about this light on my lives before and how much I really wanted to get one of these, but I couldn't afford it. There's been several times where I've been really close to pulling the trigger on getting this one, but finally I've got it in my hands. I got it 2 or 3 days ago. I've had a chance to actually carry it for 2 days. I actually carried it around, had it in my pocket. I used it. I actually recharged my phone with it, and that's a little hint of what's coming. So I've done several things with this light. So I do have a little bit of limited knowledge and experience with this light that I'll be able to tell you about. Now, there are people online on YouTube that has much more in-depth tenures with this light where they've actually carried it for long term, compared it to other lights, and done hands-on testing with this light. I would highly recommend, if you're considering this light, because it does cost a pretty penny, check out some of those reviews to see what they have to say as well. Now, I've actually checked out several of those, so I'm going to use a little bit of that information in this review. Now, what this light will do, the stats, the capabilities and stuff, I can definitely tell you all about that. So this is the SK05. Before I actually show you the light, I'm going to show you what it comes with. It comes in this really cool box here. Standard, typical, comes in a flashlight box, you know, the SK05 Pro from Loop Gear. Now, it also comes with this little baggie here. There is the USB-C charging cord in here. There's a little screwdriver, and I don't know if you can see those little black screws in there. There's actually 4 of those that come with it. I've already taken 2 out, and there's also a pocket clip in here. Now, the reason the pocket clip is not in there is because I've actually already attached that, because I did want to carry this to get hands-on experience to tell you all about it. And it does come with this user's manual. I'll let you go ahead and freeze that there if you want to see the stats, but also you can just look this up. The stats are all online, easy to get. This is the Loop Gear SK05 Pro. Now, it comes in several different colors. You can get white, silver, black, several colors, and they range in price from $98.99, which is what this one was, all the way up to $123.99. Depending on which color and stuff you get. Now, you can get those on sale for a couple dollars less at different times, but overall, it is a pretty pricey light. It's right up there with the Arc Pro Ultras and the Warriors and a lot of the O-lights and Nightcore and different things like that. So there's some really good lights out there at that price point. So I would definitely recommend, if you're wanting to drop that type of money on a light, definitely do your research so that you know exactly what you're getting, and you're getting the one that you really want, that can do what you really want. Now, this is a light that does a lot of different things. It has an aluminum body. It's very, very sturdy, very well made. It has a 1 meter drop radius. It has an IP68 rating, which means that it is not only water resistant, but it is also dust and dirt and debris and grit and grime and stuff like that resistant. So it's not going to let it, you can fully submerge this for 3 meters for up to 30 minutes and it's still going to be fine. I mean, that's crazy that they're able to do that these days. But also with the 6, the IP6, that means it's completely dust, dirt, grit, grime, debris resistant. So nothing's going to get in here and damage the working components of the light. Again, it has a drop radius of 1 meter. Now, I will tell you, this is a very heavy light. I would not recommend dropping it or throwing it or anything like that. But it does have a 1 meter drop radius. Now, it does have a magnetic base. Now, the thing about the magnetic base, and I'm going to show you that really quick. The magnetic base is kind of tricky because it does have a magnetic base, but any kind of vibration or movement at all, and this light will fall off. It is strong enough to hold it on there if you're sticking it to a metal surface like a car hood, a wheel well, something like that for changing tires, or a toolbox in like a work shed or something like that where you're working. It definitely has the power to stick to it and stay stable and sturdy. But if any kind of movement or vibration at all, and it falls right off, and it is because this is so heavy. Let me go ahead and lock that out. There we go. Locked out. Now, but here's the tricky thing about this magnet. Because it is an extremely strong magnet. It's just the fact that this weighs so much, it's hard for that magnet to hold the weight. When I was putting the pocket clip on, it kept yanking it down to that magnet because that magnet is so strong. I mean, that magnet is very, very strong. I mean, that thing has got some pull to it. So it is a strong magnet. So it's kind of a little tricky with that. But there you go. Now it does have, the batteries are in here. They're rechargeable, of course, and it uses a USB-C charging cord that comes with it. I already showed you, and that is where you will charge that up. And the batteries, the way that you get to them, this little switch right here, you push up and that pops open. There are two 4,000 milliamp hour batteries in here. They're 18650s. And again, there are 2 of them. So that is a lot of juice. And it does take a lot of juice for this light to do the things that it is actually capable of doing. And we'll talk about that here in a second. It does have a pocket clip that comes with it. I put this on because I wanted to actually carry this for 2 days, and I wanted to feel the weight, and because this is a heavy light. And I wanted to see, is this really a good EDC option? Because as soon as you get this out of the box and you feel it, how chunky and heavy this is, you realize, yeah, that's a lot of weight in your pockets. So I did go ahead. Now you can put the pocket clip on to where the bezel is down in your pocket, or turn it around to where the bezel would be up in your pocket. I, of course, put it to where the bezel is down in my pocket. Now, it does have a dial here, and that dial has a lockout mode. So when it's in the lockout mode, you cannot turn it on. In fact, when you try to hit that button and to turn it on, you get the red light. Now, that is actually kind of cool because there's an actual use that you can use that for. That is a tactical red light. As long as you hold that button down, that red light turns on. Let's say you're in a situation where you need the red light and you want to just like a tactical situation, just a quick on and off. That would be a really good type of situation. So even though it's a lockout, you could actually use that for utilitarian purposes. But before I show you what it does, you do have 2 glass bezels here. One is for a deeper recessed LED for your throw and stuff like that. It is like coned so that you're going to get that actual spotlight. And then this has the, I'm not familiar with the terms on all these things, so forgive me for that. But you can see there's 3 LEDs in there. So you're really going to get a lot of light for your flood to cover a wide area. And then, of course, you have this side light as well that you've already seen, and I'll show you what that will do as well. All in all, a very well-made light, very, very sturdy, very secure, well-made. It's going to last. Now, let's get into what this thing will actually do. Now, I've already showed you that it has the lockout mode. Now, all you want to do is turn that knob right there, and you will come to your spot and your flood lights. When you turn it on, you just turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off. If you turn it on and you double click, you go to turbo. But if you turn it on and you hold that button down, you will cycle through low, medium, and high. Double click, goes to turbo. Now, it will not stay at turbo long because it gets very, very hot. So it's only going to have a short duration of turbo. And then it drops down to its high, which is 600. And it's not going to stay there very long. I mean, you're looking at 40 to 45 seconds in turbo, and then it drops down because it does get really hot. Now, in a second, I'm going to show you how to get the max lumens out of these. All right, so Spotlight has 1300 max lumens. Floodlight has 38, or no, is that 38 or 36? I think that's, it's 30, I can't remember, it's 38 or 30, I think it's 38. 3,800 lumens for your floodlight. It might be 3,600, but it's in there. So you got a Spotlight Max and you got a Floodlight Max, and they are different. Now, there is a way to get the full 4,300 max lumens, and I'll show you that in a second. So again, turn it on. Oh. Turn it on, turn it off. Turn it on and double click to go to turbo, or turn it on and hold it down to cycle through the modes. Pretty simple. Now, it does have a memory, so wherever it was, here, let's turn it to low. If you turn it off, turn it back on, it's going to be in low. So it does have a memory. All right, so now when we switch to this one, you're going to have your different bezel working. There you go. Turn it on, turn it off. Double click. Goes into turbo, hold it down, and it'll cycle through low, medium, and high. Pretty simple. It works the same way for both of them. Double click, turbo, or just hold it down and it'll cycle through. Let's put it on high, turn it off, turn it back on, and it's still in high. All right, so it does have a memory. Now, the way that you get both of these to operate at the same time to get that max 4,300 lumens is real simple. While it's off, hold that down, and they both turn on at once. Now you're looking at 4,300 max lumens because both of them are working at the same time. Real simple. If you turn it on, hold that down, it won't work. But if you hold it down when it's off, it will work, and we'll get both of them to work at one time. So real simple. If you got one of them operating while it's on, only one bezel is going to work. But when it's off, if you hold that down, both of them will kick on. And as long as you hold that down, they're going to stay on. Let go, and they turn back off. That's how you get that max 4,300 lumens in case of an emergency or if you're really needing to illuminate the area. Very, very, very simple light. This is not a light. Like I reviewed a light the other day that was pretty complex. You had to really learn how to do the interface of those lights and switch them out, and how to barely touch and half touch and full touch and do different modes. Now, it was simple once you learned it, but you did have to fool with it a little bit to actually learn it. This is very simple and straightforward, just like any other lights. On, off, hold down to switch through the modes, double click to go to turbo. All that you have to know is to switch through the different modes here. That's all you got to do. Now, let's go ahead and put it over here into the side light. Side light is real simple. Turn it on, turn it off. Turn it on, turn it off. Now here's where it's different. When you turn it on, if you hold this down, it'll change colors until you find the color that you want. Let's go with green again. So now it's going to do that. Now, if I don't like this and I want it to do something different, I double click this and it's going to do something different. Now, when I get there, I can hold it down to switch to colors until I get the one that I want, and it'll continue doing that. Double click it again, and you're going to get something else. Hold it down, and it'll switch to colors. Double click it again. Now it's on a solid light. I can hold it down and go through high, medium, and low. That's going to give you kind of a lantern type situation, so you can have some ambiance in your room, so you can light it up with some soft light if you're working in a work area or reading or something like that. Cool little light. Double click again. Hold it down. Now you've got solid colors instead of going through your different white lights. Now you've got different colored solid lights. Double click again. Now it's going to fade in and fade out like pulse, and you can go through those different colors by holding it down. Now we're back at that. Now here's where it really gets cool. If you triple click this, you're in your emergency light, like your beacon. It looks like a cop. Triple click again. Hold on. Hold that down. You can do white and red. Hold it down again. It does a red SOS. Hold it down again, and it goes back to that cop. So everything operates the same. Turn it on, turn it off. Hold it down to switch through the modes. It's really simple, really simple. This is a really simple light. It's complex, it does a lot, but it's simple to navigate this light. Now we're going to take this outside and actually see this thing in action. Now the max runtime is a couple hours when it is being used on turbo and high and stuff like that. It's a couple hours. Now here's where it really gets tricky. Now it has up to 96 hours on low, 95 hours on low on the floodlight and stuff like that. You're looking at 50 plus hours across the board on your low modes and on the side light and stuff. All right, but here's the deal. I mean, it says up to 20 days on the side light from fully charged. But here's a couple things I want to tell you. Number one, and I haven't even told you one of the best things that this does that I actually used, and I mentioned it earlier, and I'll talk about that here in a second. Here's the thing, and I've researched this. I've watched some other reviews and videos on this to see what other people think. This does not have a long runtime. It says one thing, but if you use this a lot, like you're using it on high and turbo, your battery is going to run down in 2 to 3 hours. So it does go through the battery juice pretty quick. Now it says that it has a refill charge. It will fully charge your batteries in a couple hours. From everything I'm seeing, it is taking about 3.5 hours. From all the reviews that I watched online, it's taking about 3.5 hours to fully charge this light from dead. So it might say that it takes a couple hours. It's taken about 3.5 hours to fully charge. All right, so it runs down really quick, and it takes about 3.5 hours to fully charge. But here's a cool thing. I actually used this yesterday to charge my phone. I wanted to see how good it works as a backup power bank. It works extremely well. My phone, I was sitting there watching Elijah's archery tournament, and I just wanted to check it out and see. My phone was on 22%. I plugged it in, set it on the bleacher next to me. It's actually funny because the guy next to me, or behind me, I should say, was like, dude, is that a flashlight? Are you charging your phone on a flashlight? I'm like, yeah, dude, it's pretty cool, ain't it? He's like, wow, I've never seen nothing like that. So a lot of people just don't even know about EDC and this kind of stuff. So we're really fortunate to be involved and to know these types of things. And you'd be surprised at how many people just don't even know. They don't have a clue on what technology and capabilities are out there. But anyways, it went from 22 to 38% in like 15, 20 minutes of me sitting there watching the archery. Now that seems like a long time, but really for charging your phone off of a flashlight, it wasn't. So in an emergency, it's going to work really well. Now that is going to drain your battery down and stuff like that, so you're going to have to recharge your light. Now here, let me compare this with a couple other lights really quick so you can see what we're looking at. I want to show you some lights. So you will kind of get an idea. Okay. This is obviously the Olight Arc Pro Ultra. As you see, it's much more slim, slender, low profile. Here's the thing. This has nowhere near the lumens that this does. Nowhere near. This in my, well, I'll talk about the overview here in a second and comparing the lights and stuff. I'm just showing you the size and stuff. Now weight, let's weigh these just so you get an idea. The Arc Pro Ultra is 4.3. Here's where this has a serious con. 8.6 ounces. This is extremely heavy. So the Arc Pro Ultra, you see the size. The Warrior is much longer, but still this is a wider, about the same thickness this way. But this one is wider and this one is longer, if that makes sense. So you can see. Now, here's a good one. This is the Wuben X4, the Wuben X4. Look at that. And the Wuben X4 does have your side light. It has two different lights up at the front, so you get spot and flood. You've got a dial. You've got a lockout mode. Now, this has nowhere near the lumens that this does, but this still does a lot of things. It does have a pocket clip. Now, this pocket clip definitely has your bezel up and stuff, but you'll see, look at the difference on these. This does definitely have some features that this doesn't have, but the Wuben X4 does have a lot of the similar features and kind of aesthetics. Now here is the Workos HDO2. This is the one that really, you'll see the two bezels, similar in weight, very similar in weight, thickness, similar, width, similar. The Workos HDO2 is actually longer, magnetic base, both of them double as a power bank, stuff like that. So gives you a couple options and shows you the size and stuff. Now, really quick, let me give you a rundown of this, and this is something that you're going to have to decide for yourself as an end user. Here's my take on this. And from what I've seen, a lot of people that do reviews about this agree. This is so daggone heavy. When you're carrying a knife, a wallet, a watch, an ink pen, maybe a multi-tool, a fixed blade, you're carrying EDC gear already, you've got a lot of weight on you. This is extremely heavy. It is bulky, hard to, this disappears in your pocket, slim and low profile. This, it's a little bit wider, but disappears in your pocket. You know, when you think about these lights, you really don't think about pocket lights. You think about lights for rigs, battle belts, stuff like that, backpacks, stuff like that, camping lights, tactical lights. Kind of the same situation with this. This is a light, you can use this as an EDC light and it will definitely get the job done. But I would definitely see this more as an end user, all around type light. A light that, yes, you can use for EDC, but it's probably going to be better as a work light, a camping light, in some situations, tactical light. Put it in a glove box, put it in a backpack, a go bag, stuff like that. This is a heavy light. It has a lot of features, a lot of capabilities. And again, yes, it will be a great EDC light, but there are other EDC options that still give you a lot of lumens and runtime that don't have the downfalls. Another thing that I wanted to show you, this definitely has some nice grooves here. almost like finger twirls for a good grip. But one thing that I noticed is that when you do that, you're constantly putting pressure on this right here. So let's say you're right there, you're constantly, I've got it locked out. You're constantly, when you squeeze that, even when you're holding it, you're accidentally turning it on. Always. I was doing that all day yesterday. Another thing that I was doing all day yesterday, I would put it in the lockout mode and I would see that it would be on in my pocket, because when you slip this in, that dial is very, it's easy. Like it takes no resistance at all to turn this knob. I mean, it is literally turned so easy. You barely touch that knob and it turns. So as I was sliding this in and out of my pocket, it was turning that knob and turning the light on. So my pocket would get warm really quick. I was like, oh man, what's going on? And that was because I would accidentally turn this on. No matter how you hold this, you're still putting pressure on that button. That is one thing that I noticed about this. No matter how you hold it, you've kind of got that issue. So you're turning it on at times where you're not meaning to. It's hard to get a grip without putting pressure on that. That is another downfall as an EDC light. But again, this will be an EDC light if you want it to be, and it can get the job done. It is an expensive light, but if you are looking for an EDC light and you're spending $100 to $120, there are other options out there that are great choices that have a lot of lumens and runtime and features that don't have the weight and stuff like that that this has. So again, I'm not disparaging this light. It is a great light. I love this light. I'm glad that I have it. I will carry this light. I will use this light. I'm just letting you know what the actual facts of this light are. I don't want somebody getting it and then realizing, oh, Chris said this was a great EDC light, and man, this is too heavy. It's bulky. I'm turning it on accidentally all the time. It doesn't stay in lockout mode because the knobs would turn so easy. There are some things about this that you do need to know about going into it. And again, remember, the runtime, it does run down the batteries really quick, and it does take a little bit longer to charge than they say they do. But again, in the end, to close this out, fantastic light. It is worth the money. Just realize what you're spending the money for. Are you spending the money for an overall light, a flashlight that can do a lot of things, or are you spending the money for an EDC light? If you are just looking specifically for an EDC light, for that type of money, I think that there are better options out there. But for an all-around light, just a one-stop shop, one light that can do all things, this is a fantastic choice and option. Just know what you're getting. Now let's go outside and check this thing out and see what it actually does in action. Let's go. All right, guys, so we are out here in this area that I always do these in. Now, here's the thing. Again, I say this every time. I apologize. It's winter time, so it just doesn't get that dark outside. I mean, it is nighttime. What is it? Midnight, 12:30 at night. So, and I can see everything just fine out here. And there are no lights. Like this is just how bright it is. Actually, there is a light over here. Never mind. But it's a very, very dim light. But anyways, so this is the SK05. Let's check this thing out. We are going to put it in lock mode. It's in lock mode now. So there you go. This is spotlight. Now, let's hold that down. There you go. You can see that. I mean, that is a lot of light. Look at that. Now, if I want to do turbo, that is turbo. Now, when I turn it back on, it's in high again because it does have a memory. Now, let's put it over on flood. Look at that. Man, that is a lot of light. Holy smokes. Look at that. Now we're going to hold this down and we're going to low, medium, high. Turbo. That is a lot of light. Now, what I'm going to do is as you see, it is off. I'm going to hold this button down so that they'll both turn on at once. They're both on, and you can see that is 4,300 max lumens there. And that will stay on as long as you need it to. And then the last thing we've got is if we turn it all the way over here, we've got this. You can see, not very bright. I mean, it's not what that really is for. I'm just rotating through the different modes. That's the police one. That is so cool. Daggone it, I'm trying to do something here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. All right. So that's it. So it is pretty cool light. It's got a lot of lumens. The runtime's not great on it. The weight on it is heavy. It is a great all-around user light that would be a great work light that would also substitute as an EDC light. Let me put my gloves on. Sorry for the camera shaking. It would be a great EDC light and a work light combo. A light that's going to do everything as long as you don't mind the cons that it does have, because there are a few cons, let's just be honest and truthful. But it, as a light though, just as a light, it is fantastic. Like fantastic. I love this thing. Just know what you're getting into, because it is a lot of money. $100 for that light is a lot of money. So know its limitations, accept its limitations, and then use it accordingly, you know. And if you're okay with that price tag for what you get, then I think you're going to be really happy, because it is a great light and I don't regret it a bit. I am in love with this light. I'm glad to have it. It's going to be one of my favorites. You'll see it in a lot of carries, but I will not be carrying it if I'm going any place special, if I'm going any place where I'm in, you know, slacks or anything like that, just because it is so heavy. It's a bulky, heavy light. So I'm going to use it accordingly, and that's the same thing anybody that owns that light should. But guys, I'm Chris, the Unprofessional Dad. I wish all of you sharp knives, happy lives, and very, very bright lights. Go get you an SK05 Pro, and let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys have one and what you think about it. And if you agree with me or disagree with me, if you think it's a great EDC light, or if you think it's a better all-around user light, or what you think, let me know. And also, what do you think about it compared to some of the other lights, like the Wubens and the Workos and the Olight Art Pros and Warrior lines? So let me know what you guys think. I'm the Unprofessional Dad. I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for checking out the video and watching until the very end. Hopefully you liked what you saw. If you did, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. If you don't mind, would you please click on that like button? And while you're at it, if you're not already, subscribe to the channel. Remember, if you want to see future content from me, Chris, the Unprofessional Dad, then click on that bell notification so that you're notified every time I upload a future video. If you want to see more content like this, then go ahead and click on one of these two videos right here. Remember, I use knives because they're tools, but I collect stories and relationships. I value you and I appreciate your time. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.